Happy Super Bowl Sunday to all the football fans out there. We are currently roughly 3 hours removed from kickoff between the Chiefs and the Eagles. But before we get into anything regarding that, because this is not a Super Bowl preview podcast, this is not a Super Bowl anything podcast, this is a Breath of Fresh Jets quickie with me, Charlie Baduini, co-host of the Mazz Bads Show. You already know who this is. I mean, you tapped into the podcast or video or whatever. You know, it is what it is. Anyway, yeah, Aaron Rodgers just reported about an hour ago via Jay Glazer not coming back to the Jets in 2025. And this is an end of an Aaron Rodgers era that had so much hype, so much promise, so much excitement around the fan base because it had been so long since any player a player of Aaron Rodgers' caliber, Hall of Famer, multi-time MVP, never wants to come to the Jets. And this guy decided, I want to come to this team. I want to try and build a winner, yada, yada, yada. And it just ended up not working out. I mean, I think it all goes back to the Achilles week 1 of 2023 against Buffalo. You know what I'm talking about. If that injury hadn't happened, who knows what would have followed that last season. Maybe it would have been as much of a shit show down the stretch as it was, with Zach Wilson under center. But who knows? There is literally no way to tell how things go if Rodgers doesn't miss a full season, has to be away from the team from the first, I don't know, what was it? He started coming back to the sidelines 2 years ago around like November. I don't know. But Aaron Rodgers not going to be on the team next year. Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji want to have their own guy under center, which makes sense. I mean, they're trying to establish a new culture, and the main sticking point with not bringing A-Rod back is if you bring him back into the fold while you're trying to establish a new hierarchy with the head coach and the coaching staff that obviously was not there previously, having him there as a different figure would be kind of like a reversion back to the norm of what had been okay under Robert Saleh, which is obviously not going to be okay going forward. But here's the thing: if you're so dead set on wanting to establish a culture and bring in the right guys to make sure everyone's on the same page, wouldn't you want to win games? And I understand Aaron Rodgers is not the quarterback he once was. He's not an MVP anymore. He's not going to be able to single-handedly win you 12 games a year like some of the other elite quarterbacks do as of right now across the league. But he was still a serviceable, solid quarterback. I would say he was still a top 16 starter in the league last year, especially when he was healthy and not banged up and playing on a partially torn hamstring like he did from the end of September to like the beginning of November. So I don't know. I really think if you examine all the options for the Jets going into next year about who would you want to start a quarterback for them, if you want to win games, it would be Aaron Rodgers. But obviously the baggage there seems to be too heavy for the crew, Aaron Glenn and Muji, to be okay and comfortable with keeping things the way they were. So Aaron Rodgers not going to be quarterback next year. Looking like it's going to be Tyrod Taylor. I mean, he's under contract right now. It's going to be him and Jordan Travis, who are those two are rock solid. You can pencil those two guys in for the Jets 2025 quarterback room. But the third is probably going to be a veteran. I mean, they'll probably draft a guy. I mean, not necessarily in the first 2 rounds. Like you probably won't see a Cam Ward or a Shadur Sanders. They're not going to make it to pick 7. Maybe a Jackson Dart in round 2, round 3 potentially if he drops that far. But I think you're looking at a quarterback room of those two guys. Maybe Justin Fields you throw a dart with. I mean, there's been a lot of quarterback reclamation stories across the league in the last few years. Sam Darnold, just to name a few. We'll see what happens with Daniel Jones. Baker Mayfield found a new home, and he's hit the ground running. Maybe Justin Fields is next up on that pile. You know what I mean? Who knows? So, and the thing with Justin Fields, too, is if you bring him in specifically, he's kind of the same archetype as Tyrod Taylor. They're both, mobile. I mean, Tyrod's older, but they're both like to run. Bigger arms and maybe not so accurate. So they run the same kind of offense, same kind of style. So maybe that's a good 3-headed monster right there. Tyrod Taylor for the first few weeks before he gets hurt, and then Justin Fields the rest of the way. I don't know. See, like I'm trying to talk myself into this, but the problem is so let's say they go into next season with Tyrod Taylor and insert free agent signing here and Jordan Travis, and they go 6-11. Missed the playoffs, and no one's got any confidence in Tanner Engstrand going forward as the offensive coordinator because the offense sucked last year because you didn't have a good quarterback. You know what I mean? It just seems like a very slippery slope to be able to say, we're moving off of Rodgers, and we're going to go with the QB rotation room. You know what I mean? It just doesn't inspire confidence, which is unfortunate. But I still got a lot of faith in this new regime. Aaron Glenn, Darren Muji, I think are going to be putting us on the right track. This move, though, while I can understand the reasoning, if you want to win football games, it makes the most sense to me to hang on to Aaron Rodgers, which also means hanging on to Devontae Adams, which, two great guys at their positions across the league. So it's going to be tough. But, the Jets could totally shock us. Maybe they pull a trade for – maybe they're able to swing a trade like swapping Matt Stafford and Aaron Rodgers or something like that. That'd be something. But that's obviously a swing for the fences, a Madden trade, if you will. But regardless, this was a quick one. I just wanted to – the news broke. I wanted to talk about it because Rodgers my guy. So all good, and we're just going to be sitting here waiting for the Super Bowl. By the way, I know we kind of talked about picks in the last episode, and I said Philly. And I've been on Philly since the conference championships. I've been like, Philly's a better team. They got a bit more talent. But when I think about it, I don't see this game being too lopsided. I see this being a one-possession game going into the fourth quarter down to the wire, and the Chiefs are not going to lose that kind of game. So I'm switching my pick over to the Chiefs. I think they're going to pull out the win today, get the three-peat, and another AFC champion. It doesn't feel like the Chiefs should be like on the same kind of... Never mind. I was going to compare the Chiefs and the Jets franchises. The Chiefs, winners of Super Bowl IV, hadn't won anything till Mahomes got there. When are the Jets going to get their Mahomes, man? When are the Jets going to get a guy, find him in the draft, who just uplifts the franchise and is able to carry them for at least 8 years, minimum 8 years. But it is what it is. If you watched this far, thanks for tuning in. We might have a Sunday dinner out for you guys tonight on a little Super Bowl recap. We'll see what happens. In the meantime, enjoy the Super Bowl. Please eat food, drink what you want to drink. Enjoy yourself. Have a good time. This day is for everybody who wants to be a couch potato. So, once again, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.